So, you live in Vallejo and you've got a dog. You know this city has some absolutely beautiful spots to explore together. But to really enjoy them, you need a dog who's confident and well-behaved. The question is, how do you find the right trainer to help make that happen?
Just picture it for a second. You're taking a walk along the waterfront at the Mar Island Preserve. The sun's out, and your dog is just trotting right alongside you, totally relaxed, not pulling or getting distracted, just enjoying being out there with you. That's the dream, right?
Because with good training, you get to do so much more than just stop bad habits. You really start to build this amazing partnership that lets you go out and experience all the cool things Vallejo has to offer, together.
And that's exactly what we're going to cover. This is your guide to finding a trainer who gets you, gets your dog, and gets what it's like to live here in the city.
Okay, so first things first. Before you even start thinking about class times or what it's going to cost, we need to talk about the absolute foundation of a good trainer, their methods and their qualifications. You're going to hear this term a lot, positive reinforcement. And really, it's just a way of saying that training is based on rewarding your dog for doing the right thing. You're using treats, praise, or toys to say, yes, that's what I want. It makes learning fun, builds their confidence, and honestly, it creates such a strong bond between you two. And on the flip side, this is a total deal breaker. If you talk to a trainer and they mention anything about using fear, intimidation, or pain, like choke chains or shock collars, that is a huge red flag. Good modern training is all about teamwork, not about forcing your dog to comply.
Now, you'll probably see a bunch of letters after a trainer's name. It can look like alphabet soup, but these are actually really helpful clues. A certification like CPDT-KA or KPA-CTP is awesome for general obedience and manners. But if you're dealing with something more serious, like deep-seated fear or aggression, you might want to look for a specialist with something like a CBCC-KA. It just shows they have extra training in those complex areas.
All right, so once you know you're looking for a positive, certified trainer, the next question is, what kind of training setup is best? And, there's really no one-size-fits-all answer here. It totally depends on you and your dog. So, let's break down the two most popular choices. In-home lessons are fantastic if the problems are, happening at home, like your dog going nuts when the doorbell rings or surfing the counters for snacks. But if your goal is to get your dog to listen around other people and dogs, group classes are perfect. They're a great way to practice focusing in a distracting environment, which is exactly what you need for a trip to Wardlaw Dog Park. Of course, there are other options too. Private lessons are just you and the trainer, so you get all their attention. Day training is a cool model where the trainer works with your dog during the day and then shows you what they learned. And for a really intensive approach, there's board and train, where your dog stays with the trainer for a few weeks. It's all about finding the right fit for your schedule and your dog's needs. Okay, so you know the philosophy you want, and you have an idea of the training style you like. Now let's get down to brass tacks, what to ask a potential trainer, and what you should expect this all to cost.
Think of this as your little interview script. You'll want to ask them to describe their methods, double-check their certifications, and get a feel for how they'll tailor a plan for your dog. A really important one is asking how you'll both track progress. And please, always, always ask about the total cost and what their cancellation policy is right up front. You don't want any surprises later.
And that brings us to the big question everyone has. How much is this going to cost? Well, the price can really vary depending on what kind of training you choose. So this gives you a general idea of the average costs in the Vallejo area for 2025. You can see that a multi-week group class is usually the most budget-friendly option. A package of in-home lessons is more of a mid-range investment, and then a board and train program is the most intensive and, the most expensive. Hopefully this helps you figure out what might work for your budget. So, finding a great trainer and getting started, that's a huge step, but the work doesn't stop there. The next part is taking everything you've learned and applying it in the real world. And a big part of that is knowing the local rules of the road. Here's a super simple but really important one to remember. In Vallejo, your dog's leash can't be longer than 6 feet in public spaces. That goes for parks, sidewalks, waterfront trails, pretty much everywhere that isn't a designated off-leash area. It's just about keeping everyone safe and comfortable. And just a few other quick housekeeping things. Make sure your dog's license is renewed every year with Solano County and that their rabies shot is up to date. And, just be a good neighbor about barking. It's all part of responsible dog ownership here. Okay, now for the fun stuff. Where to practice. Wardlaw Dog Park is fantastic for working on recall and polite greetings in a fenced-in, safe space. Blue Rock Springs Park is perfect for practicing focus when there are lots of distractions like kids playing and people having picnics. And Mar Island? Well, that's the ultimate test for calm, loose-leash walking with all the sights and smells.
You see, all this training, it's about so much more than just teaching commands like sit or stay. It's about building your dog's confidence so they can handle the world around them without getting stressed or overwhelmed.
When you put in the time with good training, you're really just opening up your world. It means you can have those relaxed strolls through the farmer's market, you can go to a friend's house without worrying, and you can just enjoy your neighborhood knowing you have a happy, well-adjusted companion by your side. Here's to all the great adventures you two are going to have.